Complainant says he offered you a business proposition. And instead of a simple no thanks, you assaulted him with a shotgun.
It was his gun.
The case for the handcuffs. The case!
Been to L.A. and I've been to Mexico. And I've been laid.
Well, what do you want?
I want to get a melon crop in.
Come on, Frank, let's finish it. I got work to do.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to the Spaghetti Theater for another Spaghetti Theater review. As a fan of the great late Charles Bronson, I will gladly watch anything that features him. And believe me, the man's done a lot of shit. And what I mean is, not all of it's good. However, he's always great no matter what badly made crap he may be in. Family of Cops 3 was not exactly a masterpiece of TV movie art, but it's just enjoyable to watch him anyway. He's one of those kind of actors, like Lee Van Cleef. I'll watch anything with Lee Van Cleef, and again, the man's done a lot of crap, but he's always great. However, Charles Bronson has also done a lot of movies that were awesome all around, like Death Wish, the movie that set his acting career in stone pretty much. Charles Bronson plays a character who's just a regular guy trying to live his life when society decides to fuck it all up for him. And he's forced to go on a killing rampage. Usually after the violation and murder of someone he loved dearly. So yeah, he always has the worst of luck. A killing rampage though, which you totally root for, since everyone he's killing deserves it. I went over this a bit in my review of Death Hunt, but that's for another time because I'm here to talk about Mr. Majestic, the 1974 Charles Bronson fast-paced action classic. And I mean it. This movie moves right along. It's great. It was written by Elmore Leonard. He also wrote Get Shorty and Jackie Brown, two other good movies, but not as great as this one in my opinion. So let's get to the friggin' movie already, shall we? It's Mr. Majestic, everybody. He has a theme song, a cool theme song for a cool man. So snap, we're in Colorado, USA, in a town called Edna, like Edna Krabappel, Bart Simpson's teacher. It's the home of Charles Bronson's title character, Vincent Majestic, but I'm probably gonna call him Charles Bronson through a lot of this. I'll switch back and forth probably. He enters the scene right after he's finished taking a shit. Only Charles Bronson could make exiting the shitter look awesome. What a way to start a movie. Charles Bronson right after dropping a load at the local gas station. I'm in. So he's here filling up his truck, of course.
Yeah, if you're not too busy, you can wipe the bugs off the windshield.
And hiring migrant workers to go help him harvest melons on his melon farm, as they're all loaded onto a bus and sent over to the Majestic farm to get to work. That's when these folks show up. More migrant workers, including this lady, right off the High Chaparral. She was getting sexually harassed by Uncle Buck. I'm just kidding. Oh, Cameron Mitchell. He'll do anything too. Anyway, she also tries to use the gas station's bathroom, only to be turned down by this dick of an attendant.
It's broken, you can't use it.
What about the other one, the men's room?
It's broken too, both of them are broken.
Where do you go? Maybe you never go, huh? That's why you're so full of shit.
This is bullshit, of course, so Charles Bronson asked why.
I was the last one to use that men's room. Saying I busted the toilet.
Gas station guy then goes off on a racist tangent about how migrant workers will trash the bathroom and steal anything that ain't nailed down.
These people, they get in there, they take a bath, mess the place up, steal the toilet paper.
What an asshole. Like you're a real pillar of high society, you dipshit. Pump my gas. So Charles Bronson offers this lady a job since, well, I guess because he thinks she's hot and in need of assistance from this gas station asshole who he's not done with by far.
And since the toilets are broken, why don't y'all come in here and use this?
Way to go, Charles Bronson. Just piss in his trash can, everybody. Fuck that guy.
So what the hell do you care if they use the toilet or not?
Yeah, shithead, why do you care so much? Oh, I know. Because you're a racist dick who hates migrant workers. And Charles Bronson won't stand for that kind of shit. And makes damn sure that they all get to use that bathroom.
Don't take all day.
Fucking A right, Mr. Majestic. Hit the theme song. He's fighting for the rights of bathroom equality as Charles Bronson drives back to his melon farm to meet up with his migrant workers. And even brought his new best friend along, this chick.
What's your name?
Nancy Travis.
Nancy Travis? Is that what she said her name was? Nancy Travis?
Nancy Travis.
Well shit, Any relation to the actress Nancy Travis?
Not related to the other Chavez.
No, just a coincidence? Didn't think so. You look nothing alike. Anyway, this is Mexican Nancy Travis. Professional migrant worker. Not Nancy Travis from Greedy, Becker, and So I Married an Axe Murderer. Got it? I know she was in a lot of other shit too, but that's what comes to mind first for me. And just to clarify, the character's name is actually Nancy Chavez. You know, Chavez like Young Guns.
Nancy Chavez.
But I'm just going with Nancy Travis because the first time I saw it, that's what I thought she said. So they get to Mr. Majestik's melon field. Only all of his workers are still on the bus and not picking melons, since apparently this sleazy cowboy guy took it upon himself to use his crew of migrant workers to pick melons in this random field that belongs to Charles friggin' Bronson. So of course, Mr. Majestik, aka Charles friggin' Bronson, confronts this little rat-faced man.
Hey, I don't think I know you.
He don't know you, dipshit, so pack up your crew and get lost. He already has a crew of workers.
Get your people on a truck, get off my land.
Only this little shithead thinks he's tough and can just bully around any farmer he wants to, and force his group of migrant workers onto any random farmer.
Hire who I want.
Yeah, well, you see, you want me.
So clearly this guy is just a scumbag. And a real pathetic one too, as you will see. But it's this one dick move of his that set in the course of events that will lead to Charles Bronson's bloodbath. And he won't let up this guy. He is insistent that Charles Bronson use his crew of cheaper labor
It ain't sunk into that thick brain of yours yet.
instead of the one he already hired and had driven over here on a bus.
See, everything goes a lot easier and a lot less trouble when you do business with me.
And like most people, I'm sure at this point, he would want to rip this little fucker's head off and shove it down his throat. Am I right? So finally Charles Bronson threatens him to put him in his place.
You make sounds like you're a mean little ass kicker. Well, I ain't convinced.
I agree. That shirt is not intimidating.
You keep talking, I'm gonna take your head off.
So Charles Bronson has to sadly explain to this other crew of migrant workers that the guy that hired you is a piece of shit, and he's real sorry, but you all have to leave. He already has a crew. So to fuck with him even more, this little dick has one of his cronies blast music over their truck's PA system to silence the great Charles Bronson. Which was stupid of him. So Charles Bronson makes his way towards him, as he quickly arms himself with a shotgun that's bigger than he is, and even Mexican Nancy Travis steps in to try to reason with this weasel. Only he's not gonna back down now that he's been threatened.
He threatened me and all you people heard it!
Deservedly so, I might add. So what does Charles Bronson do? Why, he fulfills that threat, and makes it a reality, and simply takes that shotgun away from him, tosses him on the hood of his own car, and uses the shotgun to crush his tiny little nuts, knocking him down a few pegs, even though he had 0 pegs to begin with. Then he insists that his cronies back off and not try to help the little dipshit. And finally, to top it all off, he uses that shotgun to blow that truck's PA system apart. Kablammo! Fucking A, Charles Bronson. That's what I'm talking about. Pure Charles Bronson shit right there, folks. Like with that idiot back at the gas station. God, I hope those migrant workers shit everywhere. Now he's forced to clean it up. So Bronson has won this round and kicks this weasel, his cronies, and migrant crew the hell out. And he's even kind enough to give them their shotgun back. He don't need it. I'm sure he has plenty at home. But before this weasel leaves, Charles Bronson gives him some free advice about life.
You want my opinion, you're in the wrong business.
Snap. But I doubt he's learned his lesson. However, Charles Bronson just kicked some ass, so hit the damn theme song. As we cut to melon farming, where even Mr. Majestik himself, the boss, works too, right alongside his migrant worker crew. What a guy. But this moment of peace is short-lived when these two cops just walk on over and arrest Charles Bronson, cuffs and all, simply because someone swore out a complaint on him.
Someone sworn out a complaint against you. I got a warrant for your arrest.
So they put him in the back of a police car and drive him away, telling the migrant workers nothing. Fuck them, I guess. So they take him into town to the local police station in Edna, where they take his mugshot and even read him his
I
rights.
understand each of these rights I've explained to you.
Just because someone swore out a complaint on you, they can just arrest you, throw you into a police car and run you through the whole system, and then toss you into jail? Okay then. Probably that shit with the shotgun, I assume. So then enter this old guy, Lieutenant Detective Cop, who lets Charles Bronson tell his side of the story.
You can tell your side of it if you want.
Only I guess that doesn't matter because the weasel who filed that complaint out on him told a completely different tale. Of course he did, the little shithead. And I love Charles Bronson's response when they tell him that he threatened that little weasel with a shotgun.
It was his gun.
Excellent point. They're the ones who brought a shotgun to a melon harvest. So then, to make things even worse for Charles Bronson, they bring up some conviction they found on him from a few years back that landed him in Folsom Prison, just like Johnny Cash.
Guy hit me with a beer bottle.
Because he got into a bar fight and once again
And they said that I kicked his face in when he was unconscious.
Of course, you did no such thing.
was screwed over by society and took all the blame for it, the poor little guy. Then while he was in prison, his wife divorced him, took the kid and moved to California or some shit. Fucking society. But even with all this shit going on, all Mr. Majestic cares about is picking his damn melons and getting the full harvest in.
Let me go see that they're picked, and I'll come back a few days later.
He's a farmer.
I don't get those melons in this week. I lose the whole crop.
It's what he does.
That's all that's worrying you, melons?
But too fucking bad, Charles Bronson. This cop doesn't care and has him locked up anyway. He's more into mushrooms, this guy.
Lock him up.
So cut to later, in jail, where Charles Bronson enjoys lunch with his fellow prisoners. Then, all casual-like, as if he was eating dinner with his family, asks this questionable-looking fellow if he's going to finish his sausage, and if not, can he have it?
Hey, buddy, you gonna eat that sausage?
Charles Bronson's hungry, I guess, and just loves other prisoners' sausages. That sounded gross, didn't it? And this guy's answer is to toss his whole damn meal on the floor, which amuses Charles Bronson.
You ain't gonna eat nobody, sir. Help yourself.
So instead of just leaving this ticking time bomb alone, Charles Bronson tries to bum a cigarette off, only to be saved by this guy, who offers him one of his, just to get him to leave that unstable-looking chap alone. Which is when he informs Charles Bronson as to exactly who that nut is. And because Charles Bronson's not too in touch with the times, he assumes he's a TV star.
TV star. I saw him play the accordion on TV.
Really, Mr. Majestic? I can't picture this guy playing any instrument, let alone an accordion. Only no, stupid, he's not an accordion player.
Frank Renda. He's a hitman.
He's a hitman for the mob, named Frank Renda. Now that I believe with this guy. Yeah, Charles Bronson, a hitman. Like in The Mechanic, which you also starred in. Snap.
He shoots people with a gun, and you ask him, is he gonna eat his sausage?
So cut to later, as all these prisoners are now being transferred from this local town jail to a bigger one, I guess, an actual prison. All while those majestic melons just sit around, unpicked, as reporters flock to the scene to get some shots of this famous mob hitman, Frank Renda, the lunatic himself. Because maybe it's a lunatic you've been looking for. You may be right. And here we get to learn a little bit about who this guy Renda is.
Renda, a familiar name in organized crime, has been arrested 9 times without a conviction.
He's a crazy hitman for the mob, who they have finally captured. And also finally have a witness who's willing to testify against him. And put his ass away for good. Only enough of that shit, news people. Get the hell out of Charles Bronson's way. He has a prison to get to. And melons to hopefully eventually pick. So on the bus, Charles Bronson's still not taking any of this seriously and still being a wise ass with that guy Frank Renda.
Now he's a TV star.
But now that everyone's aboard, they drive out of town. As I start to get this another 48 hours vibe. Is Reggie Hammond on that bus? Roxanne! So then the bus arrives in this small Colorado town. That doesn't look all that different from the last one, so no big whoop there. However, this fella's getting ready to do something criminal. Methinks, as he goes all stalking face, crosses the street and purposely steps in front of that prison bus, causing the driver to brake and honk angrily at this stalking-faced idiot, who swings around with a gun and shoots the driver dead. Pow! Well, fucking shit, everyone, it's on! Shootout time, I guess. Stalking-faced guy then swings around and fires at the prison bus's police escort. Pow! As this van flies out of nowhere with a Molotov cocktail that they toss at the cops. Kaboosh! A raging inferno in the streets. Then ka-splat! The other guard in the bus is hit in the neck and drops dead. And then this cop too. Kapoosh! Then enter this station wagon from the grate out of nowhere, wielding a shotgun, causing this cop to say fuck that shit and gets the hell out of there. As the station wagon of death shotguns the police car's door right the hell off. Then this guy tries to board the bus, I guess to help that hitman Renda escape, only to be met by the bus guard we thought was dead. Who blows this fucker away? Kaploshki! Take that shit! Way to go, random bus cop. At least you took one of those assholes with you. So with the rescue going to complete shit now, the station wagon tries to bail the fuck out of there, only to be shot down by the cops and smashes into this car. They all try to bail, only nope. Bang, you're dead, shitnog. So back in the bus, let's check in with Charles Bronson, who looks a bit stunned at what's happening, while Hitman Renda over here keeps screaming for the keys on the dying guard so he can escape.
The keys for the handcuffs.
Since he's the only one required to be cuffed.
The keys!
The keys! And why a psycho like this is being transferred along with small-time criminals like this is beyond me.
I was drunk driving. I don't want to be shot for that.
So Charles Bronson just ignores Renda and goes to help the guard, and just pockets those keys himself, still ignoring his urgent want for those keys.
The keys!
The keys!
The keys!
The keys! Charles Bronson then yells out into the streets to let them get this wounded guard off the bus,
We got a wounded man here.
and to stop shooting for a second.
Hold your fire, we'll bring her out.
The keys!
Oh, shut up about the keys. They're not gonna give them to you, dipshit. The keys!
The keys! The keys!
So the shootout is put on hold, while the bus prisoners take the dying guard off the bus, as Charles Bronson orders this other one to go take the dead driver off the bus as well, which he gladly does, even though he's unsure as to what the hell Charles Bronson's up to.
Man, I hope you know what you're doing.
Renda as well.
The keys!
And Charles Bronson's plan? Well, it's just to steal the entire prison bus, and just take off, Renda and all.
The keys!
And of course the police follow it. As the shootout is back on, everyone, as another police car goes after that van, as it tries to make a break for it. Action, 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 folks! It's Charles Bronson's Wild Ride. Can you imagine that as a ride at Disney, based entirely on this movie? I would run to Disney from Maine to go in that thing. So the police easily knock that stupid van off the road and into a ditch. Smashy! You're all done, guys. Please report to jail. As Charles Bronson easily loses the police by taking that bus on a wild ride through Colorado's backcountry with a confused as hell Renda,
The keys!
as they go deep into the outskirts, where he takes refuge in this abandoned warehouse, previously occupied by the Joker and his henchmen, until the Caped Crusaders had them busted. So now they finally have some alone time. And boy, Renda is actually impressed with Mr. Majestic. Since up until now, he just figured him as some local idiot
I had you figured for local clown, but you really move.
who wanted to finish his sausage.
Hey buddy, you gonna eat that sausage?
Ew. So Renda tries to get Charles Bronson to pretty much join him, and they can run away together.
I'll give you a phone number to call. We'll be out of the country before morning.
He'll even reward you with money. Mob money, I assume.
You come with me, you're worth plenty. Sound good?
Only Charles Bronson has other ideas. Of course, he has no intention of partnering up with a psycho hitman from the mob.
You got it ass backwards. I ain't coming with you, you're coming with me.
You're the one who's gonna be doing what he says. Got it? Crazy mob killer guy? So Charles Bronson marches him through the wilderness and to his old hunting cabin, where Renda finally gets his precious keys.
The keys!
The keys!
You did take those keys.
Which Charles Bronson foolishly uses to uncuff this nutbag, when he immediately goes into fight mode. Only not for long, cause Charles Bronson kicks his fucking ass. Way to go, Charles Bronson. Just kick the mob's ass. He takes no shit from anyone, even psychotic mob hitmen. It's awesome. So he cuffs him to the bed this time. When Renda asks, "What do you want, man?"
Well, what do you want?
Well, that's easy.
I want to get a melon crop in.
He just wants to pick his damn melons, asshole. So Renda offers him all sorts of shit that he thinks Charles Bronson just can't resist.
We could be in LA tonight. Get in a couple of broads. Go to Mexico City in a few days.
Only Charles Bronson's been around.
Been to LA and I've been to Mexico. And I've been laid.
And if he's done something once already, that's enough for Charles Bronson. Melons are his passion now, Renda. Don't you get it? And I don't mean these kind of melons. So Renda threatens him by telling him exactly what kind of scumbag he really is.
I've killed 7 times with a gun. One guy I hit with a crowbar. Another guy I threw off a roof. Some others I didn't kill myself, but I had it done. Like I can have it done for you.
And we'll definitely have him killed if he doesn't make a deal with him. Renda then offers him $25,000 of good old untraceable mob money.
$25,000. You call a number, I'll give you in Denver. The money will be delivered to you anytime, any place you stay.
Which Charles Bronson actually agrees to do.
Would you say that number in Denver is?
So cut to later as Charles Bronson walks to this general store, right off the highway to make that phone call. A general store being completely run by this woman, who looks as about as local as they get in these parts. Miss Colorado, everybody. So Charles Bronson makes up some bullshit story about getting a flat tire and needing to use a phone, only he has no money.
How much to call Edna?
Edna? 2 bits.
Or 2 bits.
2 bits.
I guess Colorado currency is different than the rest of the US. But since Charles Bronson seems like such a nice random stranger off the street, she lets him make that phone call on his word that he'll pay her back somehow.
I think I can trust you for a phone call.
So he makes a phone call. Only it's to the police in Edna, not Renda's connection. He forces that old guy detective to make a deal with him, and promises to bring in Renda if all charges are dropped against him, so he can get back to melon farming already. So the police grudgingly agree and he hangs up the phone, only to bum one more phone call off Miss Colorado.
Sure, okay.
And to up his bill, ask for some beers to go as well.
And a couple bottles of beer to go, okay?
Alright.
Take advantage, why don't you? You better pay her back after this, Charles Bronson. That's when he does call that number that Renda gave him, and gets this red car to pick them up. That's where we get to meet Renda's connection. This young hot bag of bones named Wiley. This is Renda's girl.
It's Wiley. That's all you gotta know.
Yeah, can't you just picture them banging? It's definitely not that winning personality of his.
I've killed 7 times with a gun. One guy hit with a crowbar.
Must be the rich, lavish mob lifestyle, I assume. So Renda asked Wiley if she brought that $25,000 for Charles Bronson. Only she didn't. All she was told to bring was $3.85 to pay off Miss Colorado back at the general store. So ha!
I was told to stop in and give her $3.85.
Mr. Majestic double-crossed you, Renda. Psycho killer for the mob.
Another guy threw off a roof.
And I must say, I'm glad to see that we got closure on Miss Colorado getting paid off. That just makes me love Charles Bronson even more. And the fact that he's totally fine with just double-crossing crazy-ass mob guys like this. It's just plain awesome.
$3.85.
So yeah, Charles Bronson doesn't want your $25,000. He plans on turning your ass in, so he can get back to his life of melon farming. You mob asshole, you should try melon farming and not murdering people. So Charles Bronson sits in the back as Wiley drives them back to town. So a very unhappy Renda goes right back to doing the only thing he knows how to do. Threaten to kill people and then usually kill them.
You make a deal with me or you're dead.
Like he does with Charles Bronson here. Only he's not afraid of you. Even though you are quite terrifying, I must say. I wouldn't fuck with you. Wiley then offers Renda a cigarette, which he goes for. When an immediately suspicious Charles Bronson goes for it too. Because it's actually a gun and not a cigarette. And the two fight for it. As, and about to shit her pants if she ever ate anything, Wiley scrambles for her life, brings the car to a screeching halt, and drops the hell out as the struggle inside continues. When bang, the gun goes off and through the back window. Renda is knocked out of the car with the gun. When Charles Bronson makes this wild ass move, and just dives through the car's back window, into a tuck and roll, and immediate dart for the woods. Wow. Well, shit, Charles Bronson. That was fucking awesome. As Renda takes a few shots at him. Goes after him, and like that, he's gone. Like a fart in the wind. So cut to later, as Charles Bronson comes wandering back to that police station in Edna, where he tries to explain things to old guy detective here.
I had him. Did you?
Only he's not interested and has him locked up.
I suppose you want to hear what happened. Take him away, Mark. You don't want to hear?
Aw, you don't want to hear how Charles Bronson awesomely jumped through the back window of a car and then teleported here? No? Fine. You're lost, Mushroom Guy. So cut to that chick Wiley and Renda, as this mob guy sets him up with new clothes and his very own Airstream.
Yeah, the place has got air conditioning, you got plenty of vodka, scotch, steaks in the icebox here. Only $500 for cigarette money.
All part of the mob's version of the relocation program.
There's a really funny shower. It's over the toilet.
Only Renda doesn't care about any of this shit.
Where is it?
Fuck the Airstream.
Where is he? Want a beer?
He just wants to know where Mr. Majestic is so he can kill the fuck out of him.
Where is he?
So mob dope here, Lundy, yeah, that's his name. It's a dumb, forgettable name, so I'm gonna call him Patrick the Starfish. Cause he looks like that Tom Cullen guy from The Stand and Coach, even though it's not. Anyway, he informs Renda that Charles Bronson turned himself into the cops. And all Renda wants to do now is personally murder Mr. Majestic for not being intimidated by him like I'm sure most people are. Again, I would not fuck around with this guy. Only buddy, you can't kill Charles Bronson when he's in jail. So oh well, I guess. Only nope. He tells Patrick the Starfish to find whoever filed that complaint against Mr. Majestic and have them unfile it.
You find that sucker he hid.
You know, sleazy cowboy guy. So then he'll be released. This way Renda can just walk right up to him and kill him personally. Even though Patrick the Starfish and Wiley advise him not to. And it's not worth getting caught over all over again. Just stay here in this nice 70s Airstream and live the good life, drinking beers.
Wanna be?
Only no, killing Mr. Majestic is his only goal in life now. A guy like this is probably normally feared. So when someone like Charles Bronson comes along and shows no fear towards him,
You ain't gonna use nobody this time.
well, it pisses him off even more when he's clearly already a very unstable guy.
I said I want him! Am I getting through to you?
So cut back to the police station, folks, to check in with the great Charles Bronson, as the police inform him that those original charges against him have all been dropped. Apparently dipshit here didn't think it was worth it after all. So you're free to go, Mr. Majestic. Go pick your damn melons, buddy. However, the police warn him that this could be a way to lure him out into the open so Renda can easily kill him. Only he don't care now that he's free to harvest his damn melons. And that's just what he does since the police have been no help to him through any of this.
You're the one who wanted to make the deal, so you could go home and pick your melons. All right. Go pick them.
Yeah, in your face, local police. You haven't seen as much action since the town was invaded by mushroom people from space back in the 50s. So Bronson's picked up on the way home and informed by Larry the migrant worker that they still have no crew to work those melon fields.
That girl, Nancy Chavez, she wasn't here, we wouldn't have nobody.
But thanks to Mexican Nancy Travis and her migrant workers, all is not lost. Her and her people have been doing what they could for you, even though it's not nearly enough. So Charles Bronson heads back into town after hearing this, and tries to go find a crew to help work his melon fields, as this undercover cop watching his place follows him. And Charles Bronson's no fool because he immediately catches on. Way to be undercover, buddy. So Charles Bronson heads into this local eatery to see if his migrant worker dealer has any crews for him. And nope, sorry man, fresh out of migrant workers. This guy too. Only Charles Bronson knows this is a bunch of bullshit.
What the hell is this?
And can easily see that these guys have been told not to get him migrant workers. Or else.
I gotta work for a living. I can't do it from no damn hospital.
So he leaves, only to be greeted by, guess who? This little asshole again. Sleazy Cowboy McFuckhead. Here to offer his services of cheap migrant worker labor. Clearly he was involved in scaring off his migrant worker dealers. Only we've been down that road before, dipshit.
Maybe I can fix it so you never smile again.
Do I have to crush your tiny little nuts again? He doesn't want or need your help. But thanks for the offer anyway, you fucking asshole. But that doesn't matter because he's only there to let Charles Bronson know that Renda guy is out to get him now. And when he does, his little ass is gonna be there to see it.
Somebody's gonna set your ass on fire and I'm gonna be there to watch.
As he takes off with Patrick the Starfish. So yeah, Sleazy Cowboy McFuckhead is working for the mob now. So they drive to the middle of nowhere, meet up with this plane carrying everyone's favorite psychotic mob hitman, Frank Renda, everybody. Round of applause for a nutbag. And his whisper-thin woman, Wiley, who has questionable taste in men. But who cares when he buys you fancy-ass hats like that? Oh, Wiley. Speaking of hats, I almost forgot. I have my very own Mr. Majestic hat. So I think I should wear that through the rest of the video. How about it, folks? There. Oi, I'm Mr. Majestic now. I just want to pick my damn melons. Fuck off. Bam! Turn that damn music off. Oi. Anyway, right off the bat, all Renda cares about is locating Charles Bronson and his hat.
What about my melon picker?
And gets to meet Sleazy Cowboy McFuckhead.
I was wondering if when you finish him off, you'd let me put a couple of slugs in him.
Who, he agrees, like the rest of us, is an asshole.
Who's this asshole?
Finally, something we can agree on with this guy. So Renda wants to see where Mr. Majestic lives, so he has Sleazo take him to the melon fields, so he can scope the place out. That's where Renda immediately spots these undercover cops, disguised as road workers, watching the Majestic place.
Don't you know cops when you see them?
Meaning he can't just go over there and kill the guy now, with the cops watching. So pissed now, he kicks this little asshole out of the car. For being so stupid that he didn't notice this shit on his own. Which, to be fair to Shithead, is a little understandable. This guy Renda is probably used to being watched by the police. As this idiot fidgets around with his hat nervously. Until it annoys Renda so much that he crushes it. Which turns Wiley on, I guess. Oh, I love it when big, fat, greasy mob men take control. of Weasley pushovers like this. It's so sexy. Oh, Wiley. You're gonna get yourself killed if you're not careful. So Renda just makes this idiot walk back to his car in town, which is quite a ways. So fuck you, rat boy. So cut to Renda at this cabin in the woods that Renda's mob lawyer has set up for him. And hey, this is actor Richard Erdman, everybody. I mostly remember him from Stalag 17. He played Hoffy, the barracks chief. A perfect movie that I also reviewed on this channel. He even had his own Twilight Zone episode. He was the guy with some kind of stopwatch that could freeze time. And yeah, he was in a ton of other shit too. Anyway, he has a bunch of job offers for Renda.
Also, there's some very big offers that have come in. Big offers from big people.
So many people calling the mob for hits they want done. By the famous Frank Renda. Professional crazy guy. Only he declines for now because he's way too busy plotting the demise of Mr. Majestic.
There's a melon I gotta pick.
The melon farmer who wasn't afraid of him.
You got an ass backwards. I ain't coming with you, you're coming with me.
So tough shit, Richard Erdman. Just for that, you're not getting credited for this movie, offering me jobs.
There's a melon I gotta pick.
So cut back to Charles Bronson as he finally gets to farm his melons with the workers he does manage to have. And after a hard day's work of getting all the crops in that he could, he wants to go into town for a brewski.
Hey, didn't somebody say something about a cold beer after work?
Amen. I would love to have a beer with the great Charles Bronson. Oy, I love a beer with you. And he does just that. As one of these two undercover cops, posing as late shift construction workers, follows him, while the other uses this porta potty to take a shit, I guess. Only this time, it would be the shit that kills him, when his car, hiding in the darkness, jumps to life and crashes directly into it. What a shitty way to go, while you're going. So Renda and Patrick the Starfish get out of the car to finish this undercovered in shit cop off by bashing his head in with a beam so it looks like an accident, I guess. Still a hit and run, and generally a piece of shit thing to do in the first place, if you had a conscience, which these guys do not. So with the cops out of the way, it's time to raid the Majestic farm. Only he's not friggin' there, you idiots. He went into town for a brewski with Mexican Nancy Travis. See, you killed that cop for no reason. But again, since you don't have a conscience, it doesn't matter. Yet he's still pissed, so him and his cronies wake up Larry the migrant worker. And all of the other migrant workers that came in with Mexican Nancy Travis. And start pushing them around since that's all this guy knows. Treating people like shit, threatening to kill them, then most of the time, actually killing them. He even threatens Larry the migrant worker's pudgy little son, Pedro the migrant worker. How many watermelons you been feeding that boy? So Renda wants to know where the great Mr. Majestic is. Only these migrant workers don't know, so he tells them all to get lost. You don't work for Mr. Majestic anymore. I decided. So seeing that Renda, Patrick the Starfish, and his cronies are all serious psychos who treat everyone they meet who's not in the mob like total dog shit, they all listen and just get the fuck out of there before he does kill all of them. Which is when Renda discovers Mr. Majestic's watermelon stash.
Well, the man's been busy.
The ones he did manage to harvest. And knowing how much all these mean to Mr. Majestic, why, do you know what he does, folks?
You know, he said all he wanted was to get his melons in.
Him and his cronies shoot the fuck out of him. Oh, the humanity! And such a waste, too. Charles Bronson is gonna be so fucking pissed. You've destroyed his driving force. This is his livelihood. The reason he gets out of bed every morning. And that's exactly why they did it, the pricks. Hey, you know who would like this? Gallagher! Remember Gallagher? Only he uses a sledge-o-matic, not a machine gun. So cut to Charles Bronson and Mexican Nancy Travis as they enjoy brewskis together at the local bar where they get to know each other a little better.
You might be worthwhile getting to know better.
Well, I'll fill out an application. You read it, see if I pass.
When outside the bar, we see that shit-stained sleazo has discovered that he's there and has led Renda right to him, just as he's about to get laid.
If you want to go to bed with me, why don't you say it?
Don't want to say it, I want to do it. Come on.
Wow, that's all it took. I wish I had used that line years ago. So simple, see? He really is the great Charles Bronson. Only it's all interrupted as Renda comes strolling into the bar and sits down right in front of Mr. Majestic and informs him kindly that he's gonna kill him.
Okay.
Not now, of course. Too many witnesses in a crowded bar. Hell, 2 of them are cops. So this is just to let you know. Put the fear of Al Terry into you. Only once again, Charles Bronson is not intimidated or afraid of the psychopathic, crazy, mob-connected hitman one bit.
When is this big event gonna take place?
And says an awesome line right before punching him directly in the face.
Seems like there's no use trying to get on your good side.
So hard that it knocks him right to the floor. So fuck you, psycho. Charles Bronson's going to get laid now. And I'm sure you will too, with your pencil-thin girlfriend, Wiley. But more importantly, Charles Bronson has stood up to the mob again by punching it directly in the face. So many reasons to love this guy. So cut to later, as Charles Bronson and Mexican Nancy Travis discover all those watermelons that Renda and his men shot up. And as suspected, pisses Charles Bronson off so much that he makes a fist and clenches it real tight.
Charles Bronson angry.
So cut to the next morning as they salvage what watermelons they can. The ones that survived the Great Watermelon Massacre of 1974. As Larry the migrant worker explains what happened to Mr. Majestic, who has him deliver this one spared shipment to town. And then get the hell out of here for now, Larry the migrant worker. Go be with your family until this shit blows over. Or until Charles Bronson blows it away. Which he will. And he tells Mexican Nancy Travis pretty much the same thing. That with that fucking lunatic Renda around, things are starting to really heat up. And he doesn't want them getting killed because he's a decent guy. And this shit is between him and Renda. So cut to Rat Boy and Patrick the Starfish, as they follow that truckload of melons, being driven by Larry, the loyal migrant worker. And all around good guy. Hard worker, family man, decent human being. The opposite of this car full of shitheads. And to prove that's true, what do they do when they find out that Larry the migrant worker is still working for Mr. Majestic? Why they corner him at this loading dock.
You were told to get out and not come back, ain't that right?
And Patrick the Starfish crushes both of his legs with his car. Ow! Fucking shit, Patrick the Starfish. You really are a mob asshole, you know that? I hope Charles Bronson blows your fucking ass away with a shotgun. Spoiler alert, he will of course. It's a Charles fucking Bronson movie. So cut to the hospital later on, where Charles Bronson visits Larry, the loyal migrant worker, shortly after all this shit happened, who only begs him to get the hell out of town because it's him they're after.
They're gonna kill you. Go away. Hide somewhere.
Oh, Larry, thinking of others, just like Charles Bronson. Guess he's rubbing off on you, or vice versa. That's when Old Man Detective shows up to offer his condolences.
I'm sorry about your hired man.
And to offer his help, right after informing Mr. Majestic about that dead cop they found in the pool park. And that even they, the reluctant and always on the ball local police, have no idea where Renda actually is.
You don't know much about anything.
So let us help you, Charles Bronson. Help that Charles Bronson doesn't want, of course, when the detective tells him that he's on his own now.
You're on your own.
Which Charles Bronson replies to brilliantly again.
Lieutenant, I've been on my own from the beginning.
Damn straight he has. You guys were useless in the beginning. You just arrested him and tossed him on a prison bus with a mob hitman psychopath.
The case!
So they'll let him go home, but clearly they will be watching him closely, since they're also using him to flush out Renda, so they can bust his ass, at least for attempted murder. So cut back to the Majestic farm, as Charles Bronson gets home, but uh-oh, fuckbag Patrick the Starfish and Company stalk Charles Bronson from a distance. From a distance. Charles Bronson is watching us from a distance. Only being Charles Bronson and Mr. Majestic, he turns the tables and starts stalking them instead. As a former military man, Mr. Majestic was even in a prisoner of war camp.
Was captured in Vietnam, escaped with 4 enemy prisoners, got a silver star. Man doesn't fool, does he?
John Rambo shit. Of course. I expect that of Charles Bronson characters.
Death Hunt.
And yeah, he did escape from a prisoner of war camp. The Great Escape. He was one of the 3. So he finds out exactly how many scumbags are stalking his property and have his house surrounded before he ducks back inside. And discovers Mexican Nancy Travis is there. And he told her to get the fuck out. So this exact shit wouldn't happen.
I think you're stuck with me.
She's a feisty one, that Mexican Nancy Travis. She doesn't want to run away, back to the High Chaparral. She wants to stay and fight the good fight with Charles Bronson. Cause, hey, just because she's a woman, doesn't mean she hasn't seen her fair share of shit too, Charles Bronson.
Look, I've been in the car that was shot at, and the guy sitting next to me was killed. Another time a truck chased a bunch of us trying to run us over. I've been in the Union Hall when they threw a firebomb and blew the place up. I don't need anyone looking out for me.
It's a fucked up world.
Yeah, sure.
Charles Bronson knows this very well.
I'm gonna turn this situation around.
So they arm themselves and wait for the shit to hit the fan. When cut back to Renda's cabin away from that airstream, I guess, when he's informed that Charles Bronson is now home. Only he's not alone. He has his girlfriend, Mexican Nancy Travis, with him. And maybe the cops too. Who knows?
I don't have the time, you understand?
So cut to the next morning as Renda arrives at the Majestic farm, still surrounded by armed mob thugs, ready to kill. So Renda decides to move in on him, with this stupid asshole leading the way.
You're gonna get to go through that door first. We'll be right behind.
Who's not thrilled about the idea, of course.
I ain't never done this kind of thing before.
Your own fault, dipshit. So, inside the house, Charles Bronson and Mexican Nancy Travis go over their plan real quick.
Once you're started, don't stop or even slow down till you get to the cafe.
Once in the truck, Mexican Nancy Travis is to drive directly towards town. And once there, get out and let him take over the truck. And take the hell off, so he can deal with this shit on his own somewhere. Great plan. Hope it works. Only it's a plan that Mexican Nancy Travis doesn't agree with. Letting him go off on his own and fight the mob. But trust me, Mexican Nancy Travis, he'll be just fine. He's the original John Rambo, remember?
Death Hunt.
So it's go time, as Mexican Nancy Travis exits the house. As the surrounding killers and assassins prepare to kill an assassin. Just waiting for Mr. Majestic to show his face. As Mexican Nancy Travis gets into the truck, starts the engine, and Charles Bronson comes charging out the door and dives directly into the back of the truck as Mexican Nancy Travis steps on the gas and takes the hell off. Crazy Charles Bronson move again, folks, and it works, of course, as the infuriated mobsters hop into cars and go after them. Hang on, Charles Bronson, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Cause the chase is on now, baby, and now even the cops are in on it. Kinda have no choice there, it's their job.
Okay, put everything we got on it. Yes, sir.
So in the back of the truck, Charles Bronson rolls around while trying to load that shotgun. As Mexican Nancy Travis drives like a bat out of hell right over everything. Crashes through this gate and literally flies through the air. How's Charles Bronson not falling out? We're dropping that ammo all over the fucking place. How? Well, because he's Charles friggin' Bronson, of course. As the truck just drives across rough terrain and eventually onto a real road, where Charles Bronson kicks open the back of the truck and shotgun blasts the first car he sees. That flips out of control and is out of commission for good. But there are still 2 more cars to go. So they take it to the back roads, where Charles Bronson has time to hop out of the back and take over the wheel. And a little pissed at Mexican Nancy Travis changed the plan a bit and didn't drive to town like he asked.
Told you were stuck with me, Vincent.
She's a part of this now whether you like it or not. Charles Bronson then spins down this one of 2 roads, which causes the other 2 cars to split up when they arrive. As Charles Bronson hauls ass through his cannon, drives over mountaintops, through rough terrain again, like it's a friggin' Chevy ad or something. Like a rock! And on a side note, this truck was not modified at all for this movie. This truck was so well built that it took that beating. And the company was so proud of that fact that they used clips from this movie in a TV ad they made, bragging about the whole thing.
This Ford pickup is taking one tough pounding in these scenes from the movie Mr. Majestic. This Ford is a used 68 pickup, and it wasn't modified to take this terrific beating. Now, these exciting movie stunts have no bearing on normal usage, and this doesn't prove how long our 76 will last. But if you want a tough-built pickup, that's Ford. 93 out of 100 of all Ford trucks built since '63 are still on the job. So get the one that's built Ford tough.
Fun fact, everyone. But back to the movie, folks. As the truck literally flies again. Whee! And crashes back to the earth. Kaplock! So what the hell is he doing, you might ask? Well, he knows these backwoods pretty well and has a plan. That plan? To double back on this car, show up behind him, and push him right off a cliff. You can learn a lot from a dump. Oh, well, no. Probably not now. Cars just blow up like that, huh? Maybe. I don't want to find out. So now it's down to just this one. The car featuring the 3 main dicks. Renda, Shitheel, and Patrick the Starfish. That's when Renda realizes that they just let Charles Bronson lead them the hell out there.
He brought us here. That melon picker sucked us in.
And yeah, he sure did. Because now he's behind a rock and shooting at him. Pow! Fucking awesome. I love Charles Bronson so much. And it's for shit like this. But it only gets better, folks. So they bail the hell out of there and head back to that cabin. As Charles Bronson chases after them now. The man is brilliant. A genius, I tells you. Way to fight them off. And now the police have found themselves a chopper that they have on the case. Way to go, guys. Way to get your shit together at the last second, Detective Mushroom Guy. So cut back to the cabin, where he's sad that she missed all the action. Wiley waits for the love of her life.
I never seem to catch the beginning of anything.
This gun-toting Lola, who takes refuge here with his cronies and waits for Charles Bronson to arrive. For the final showdown, Sorrenda grabs a pair of binoculars and scans the woods for any signs of Charles Bronson. And hey, there's something right there. Yep, it's Charles Bronson, alright. And he's ready to kill, so pow! He nearly kills the prick right then and there. And still, even through all this, at this point, only cares about picking his damn melons.
Come on, Frank, let's finish it. I got work to do.
A crazy mob hitman trying to kill him is just a minor obstacle in the way of him picking his melons. So the tables have really turned now, folks, because this is it. The final showdown. We made it, and it's just great. Two actors perfect at their jobs, portraying these two characters who hate one another so much that it's come to this. Yet Renda is still very impressed with Mr. Majestic. Never did he expect to find an adversary capable of bringing him down. And just some melon farmer out of Colorado, too. I hear it's a very gun-violent state. So Renda sends Wiley and her ugly Christmas sweater outside to talk with Mr. Majestic, because I guess he doesn't care if she gets killed in his place. As he takes aim inside the cabin, just waiting for Charles Bronson to poke his head out. Only she goes too far, so you're shit out of luck on that one. As she eventually finds Charles Bronson and Mexican Nancy Travis just chilling out by the truck. As Charles Bronson tells her to let the dipshits inside know that the cops are on their way. Helicopter or not. So let's hurry this shit up already, shall we? I don't want to get robbed of my awesome-ass Charles Bronson ending, where he basically just blows everyone away. And it's always satisfying since, yep, they always deserve it. Only Wiley is scared shitless now and just wants out, since she thinks this has nothing to do with her.
You know, this really hasn't got anything to do with me.
Oh, bullshit, Wiley. This had something to do with you as soon as you started dating this psychopath.
I want to look him in the face, hold a piece against his gut, and when I know that he's sure, I'm gonna kill him.
You brought him a car and helped him escape. Got him an Airstream for fuck's sake, of which he was not appreciative of.
Wanna be?
You even tried to give him a gun so he could kill Charles Bronson and escape justice again. Wiley, you're just a confused little girl, aren't you? All you saw was a big, tough mob guy who did whatever he wanted and was feared by others, and that turned your skinny little ass on, didn't it? Oh, Wiley, get the hell out of here, you doofus. And so she does. Go find a better guy. You're better off with the Mountie from Deuce Up. She goes to hide out in the truck with Mexican Nancy Travis, as Charles Bronson goes to wrap this shit up. So he crawls in, all stealth-like, and steals the keys from Shit Spur McGraw's douchebag mobile. The key! And makes his way to the cabin. Again, all stealth-like. So cut to inside the cabin as a terrified dipshit here craps his pants and waits to die, as Renda makes his way out into the roof and nearly spots Charles Bronson, who uses this clever move to avoid being spotted. It's called the Crouching Bronson Hidden Scumbag. That's when, to further his shithead status, Renda sacrifices Patrick the Starfish by claiming to have spotted Charles Bronson running back to the woods.
Randy, he's going back into the woods. Get him!
So Patrick the Starfish steps out of the cabin to go after him, only to be met by the man himself and his shotgun of death, Kaplow! Since he was there all along. Like Agatha. It was Charles Bronson all along. A tactic he used just to flush out Charles Bronson's position. At the cost of Patrick the Starfish's life, of course. But as we already know, life has no value when you're this guy. And he's a resilient little fucker too, that Patrick the Starfish. And his front comb over. Takes 2 shotgun blasts to the chest to take his ass down. But good riddance. He was a piece of shit, remember? He was involved with the killing of that undercover cop taking a shit. He crushed Larry the migrant worker's legs. And was an all-around bully. And I didn't realize this until I was editing this video, but he was also the stalking-faced guy who shot the bus driver at the beginning that started that whole shootout. So there's that. The key! So fuck that guy. Patrick the Starfish is dead. Sorry kids, it's not really him anyway. Just looks like that guy. M-O-O-N spells I'm dead. So with his position revealed, Renda's right back out in the roof and shooting down through it. Down at Bronson, only he misses total. And so does Charles Bronson when he fires back. So Renda takes refuge back inside, where now this dipshit thinks he has the right to judge people, and doesn't like the fact that he used Patrick the Starfish like that.
You used him.
to set him up.
Oh, okay, asshole. You suddenly have a soul now? All of this is directly your fault. You literally set all of these events into action because you are a stupid, weaselly little shithead. You rat-faced prick. Don't give me any of that none of your business shit. Oh, you and what? You're the prick who drove onto the Majestic farm and started forcing your laborers onto him. Fuckstick. Pulled a shotgun on him. So Renda forces his ass out the door next.
Get out there!
Before he kills him too. So the little weasel goes and is greeted by a chill as ever Charles Bronson. So he makes this idiot an offer instead of just killing him, blowing his stupid ass away. Tell me where Renda is and then play dead over that log or whatever. Which he gladly does, as Charles Bronson fires a shot into the air to make Renda think that he killed the little asshole. Then, perhaps what is the greatest scene of the movie, something that would become very cliche over the decades to come, Charles Bronson swings around and dives through the open cabin window while firing the shotgun at the same time in mid-flight, I must add. And it's a perfect shot too. Kaplowy! That blows Renda right out the back window. Or at least a stuntman that's playing Renda. Cause I don't think this is him. Classic movie bullshit right there, folks. But I love it. That was a fucking awesome way to end this shit. And so Cowboy Shitbuff makes a run for his douchebag mobile. Only, if you remember, Charles Bronson stole the keys.
The keys!
So you're not going anywhere, you dumb little asshole. Be lucky you're not dead too. Because this shootout is over, and Charles Bronson has won the day. And enjoys it with a classic Charles Bronson victory smile. Oi! I did it!
The keys!
Now he can finally get back to doing what he loves the most. Growing and harvesting watermelons. Then, as usual, the cops arrive after all this shit is over to clean up the mess and arrest this idiot, cause everyone's dead. And Charles Bronson reminds Fucko to take his advice this time, like he should have in the beginning.
You want my opinion, you're in the wrong business. Like I said, you're in the wrong business.
And that's pretty much it, folks. The cops have Charles Bronson drive back to town so they can talk about all this shit that just happened before he just goes home like it was another day. As for Wiley, well, she's arrested too for aiding and abetting a psycho mob assassin, I guess. Her own fault. Orange is the new black, Wiley. Then to close it all out, Charles Bronson makes one final wise-ass remark. To Detective Old Man Mushroom Guy here.
You were right. He was really trying to kill me.
Yeah, no shit he was. It was basically the entire plot. So hit the dang theme song as Charles Bronson and Mexican Nancy Travis just drive away into the Colorado Rockies, I guess. The end. Roll the short-ass credits that don't include Richard Erdman. Assholes. Which leads me directly into my final thoughts of another Charles Bronson action classic. Mr. Majestic. Pow! Wee! I love this film so much. It's a perfect Charles Bronson film where he basically plays the same type of guy again. What I love most about him in this is that not once is he afraid of these mob psychopaths, like most of us would be. That's what makes him great.
Seems like there's no use trying to get on your good side.
He turns the tables on them every time, and is never intimidated by their murdering, bullying bullshit.
You ain't gonna use nobody this time.
I love it. It's just great. Now I can go on about how great of an actor I think Charles Bronson is, since I've done it in previous videos, but I really also need to give a lot of credit to this guy, who played Frank Renda, Al Terry, in one of his few roles before he died, rather young, 47, I believe, from a heart attack. He only died a year after this movie came out. Yet in those few roles, he left a memorable impression. I remember this guy every time I see him. Usually a bad guy. Besides this, he was in The Godfather and the Steve McQueen version of The Getaway, which is the original version, where once again he pretty much played the same character in The Getaway. A character who in the remake in the 90s would be played by Michael Madsen. And a weird fact, Michael Madsen was in the movie Kill Bill, and in his trailer in the movie, he has a poster of Mr. Majestic. So that is neat. He was also in this underrated as hell western that I should definitely review, The Deadly Trackers, where no, he doesn't actually play the villain, but he's still really good in it. Linda Crystal played Mexican Nancy Travis, and she was on the Western TV series The High Chaparral. Paul Koslow played this dipshit. He did a lot of film and television. He was in the biker film The Born Losers, which I also reviewed in this channel. He was also in The Omega Man, for example, 2 episodes of The Incredible Hulk, and a lot of other shit. Frank Maxwell played the Lieutenant Detective Old Guy. All I remember him from was something else that I reviewed in this channel. an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents called Special Delivery. It was about alien mushrooms invading Earth. So now you understand a lot of those mushroom references I was making. Lee Purcell played Wiley, who again was in a lot of shit. But I do remember her being a bit older when she was on Deuce Up as this DA lady. And of course an honorary mention to Richard Erdman, since they didn't credit his well-accomplished as an actor ass for this movie. But with that, I'll end my look at this awesome as hell, fast-paced, moved right along Charles Bronson classic, Mr. Majestic. Oi! So a big thanks once again to all of my subscribers and leavers of comments. It's always a joy. So adios for now, folks. And I'll see you at the theater.
A sight for sore eyes to the blind would be your foe, Majestic.
The key! The key! The key!